Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the HumanizeHer podcast. I'm your host, Erica Lockheimer, and I couldn't be more excited to be with you today. This is truly a movement and also a passion project of mine to celebrate women's voices, their stories, their endeavors, their challenges, all of it. And we are going to have so much fun together learning about all of them. Let's do this and dive in. All right, in this episode with my co-host Elizabeth, we are going to be in conversation with Jenny Obiaya. She is an amazing woman filled with so much talent in focusing on children. She's currently the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of the Peninsula, which is basically a club to help disadvantaged youth. It's helping them get the tools they need to be successful in life and really see them prosper.
One of the coolest things is she was invited to Washington, D.C. by Vice President Kamala Harris to participate in a reception celebrating young Black emerging leaders. And it was all because of her trailblazing, forging paths, and making history across the country and within her community. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Thank you, Jenny. If you can give us a little background on yourself, that'd be great.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here with both of you today. Where should I begin?
From the beginning. To little Jenny. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, honestly, my childhood really shaped what I'm doing today, where I am today, what my passions are. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, cool.
Seatown. Have you ever been there?
No, but I have family in Ohio. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm in touch with them. But
Great
yes, but I don't know that area.
Yeah, Cleveland Heights, great place to grow up. Went to high school with Jason and Travis Kelsey.
Oh, wow.
Fun
Cool.
fact.
Taylor Swift's husband, future husband, right?
Yeah.
That's his
That's
name.
right. That's
Sorry.
right.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, I got some vinyl over there, Taylor Swift.
Big fans.
Okay,
over
yeah,
here.
everybody, we got
big
behind
fans.
the scenes, big fans here.
So yeah, my father is an immigrant from Nigeria, and in Nigerian culture, education is incredibly important. And so from a very early age, he instilled in me and my older sister the importance of getting an excellent education and valuing our education. I did not appreciate it at the time.
Of course
not. You're a kid.
Yeah, it's like all the pressure. I don't get it. I don't understand, but yeah, you listened.
I listened, didn't have a choice, but I'm so grateful now. And my mom, she's a redhead from St. Louis, Missouri.
A redhead.
A redhead.
You didn't get any of the red hair?
Nope, didn't get any of the red hair.
No.
Got a bit of the freckles in the summer. They come out, but not
That's
the red
nice.
hair.
Beautiful.
And she was a social worker in the most under-resourced part of Cleveland, working with children with disabilities and their families. And she worked there for 43 years.
Wow.
And I basically grew up in that community center. I went to preschool there. I went to summer camp there. It was my first job. And so I really got to see firsthand the power of community-based work. And from a very early age, I realized it is not a one-way street of, these people helping those people. Community work is really, it's the tide that lifts all boats.
Yeah.
And so I carried those values with me throughout my childhood. Ended up going to Harvard. My dad was very
slightly badass moment there. Just like,
my sister went to MIT.
no.
I went to Harvard, and my dad breathed a big sigh of relief.
Yeah, it must have been,
I'm sure Dad
so
was very
impressed.
proud.
Yeah, very
Yes,
proud. Shout
it
out to
was.
Dad.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was fun. And so when I graduated, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to give back to whatever community I called home, but I really thought that it would be more on the philanthropic side of things. And, I had plans of going to business school and, taking it from there. I ended up doing Teach for America. It is a public service program where you serve in a classroom as a teacher for 2 years. A lot of people do it out of college, but it doesn't have to be straight out of college. And you're sort of placed in under-resourced communities, and you teach for 2 years, and then you can go on and do.
And do you have to have like teaching credentials in order to do it?
Through the program, you end up getting your master's degree. You get teaching
That
credentials. Yeah,
seems
it's
like
amazing.
a great program for someone to like
Mutually
kickstart.
beneficial.
Yeah,
Yes.
on both sides. Yeah.
Started by Wendy Kopp in the 90s, I believe, and Teach Teach for America was actually her senior thesis at Princeton.
Oh, wow.
And then it grew into this huge movement.
That's amazing.
So I got placed at an elementary school in Harlem. And again, I thought I'm going to do my 2 years and then I'll be out. But within the first week, I was like, damn it.
You're hooked. You're hooked.
I am just totally hooked.
Yeah.
This was my calling. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
It's amazing.
You know, my kids taught me probably more than I taught them. But really, it was the first time where I had all of these light bulb moments where for so long, I had been referring to the disparities and the inequities that I saw around me as an achievement gap. But really, my time in the classroom taught me this is not an achievement gap. This is not a problem with our kids. This is an opportunity gap.
There you go. I love it. Yeah, it's true. It's just, they just need the tools. Someone needs to teach them. Exactly. And it's like, it's so easy to probably just, oh no, that's them. That's their environment.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But you need the reframing of the mindset and how you approach helping them to succeed, right?
Exactly.
Wow, that's amazing.
And so I was at Success Academy Charter Schools, this incredible network of high-performing schools all over New York under the amazing Eva Moskowitz. And I saw firsthand that when students who don't have a lot of resources are given access to well-trained, high-quality educators, amazing curriculum, an unwavering bar of excellence, anything is possible and the sky's the limit. And so I taught elementary school science. And my babies now, I've been following their journeys. They're at Harvard, they're at Boston College, they're at Wellesley, they're everywhere just doing amazing things. So that was incredibly eye-opening for me. And really, I was both motivated and also, you know, fired up and angry because I'm like, this is a solvable problem.
Yeah.
Right.
I love the anger because that is so motivating to actually
the
create
passion
change.
that comes in
for
fueled
sure.
by your anger to make a difference.
Yeah, sometimes you need to get a little pissed off.
That's right. And so I stayed in education. I was an elementary science teacher and then became a vice principal and then a principal. I started a school in Hell's Kitchen.
You are just like going lightning fast on all these things.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it was an elementary school in Hell's Kitchen, which was incredible. So I was a principal. I think I was 26, just trying to figure it all out. Soon after I ended up moving to the Bay Area, I came here kicking and screaming because my husband's in tech and got his dream job out here. And when I was preparing to move to Silicon Valley, I was like, well, what am I going to do out here? Because, you know, my passion and my career is based on closing the opportunity gap and really empowering young people with access to opportunities. And when, you know, I didn't know much about Silicon Valley other than what I knew about the tech industry and just that this is a place of such affluence and innovation and prosperity. So I was like, what am I going to do here? So I was shocked to actually learn the extent, you know, our community has one of the largest wealth gaps in the entire nation.
Wow, really?
And so you have some of the wealthiest zip codes in the entire country 5 minutes away from students and families living below the poverty line.
Particularly like East Palo Alto and Palo Alto. It's like right across the railroad tracks.
Right.
Major
across
difference.
The highway. It's just a highway separating them. And so I worked in education when I got here, but then in the thick of the pandemic, I found the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Peninsula. The CEO at the time, Peter Fortenbaugh, who had been at the helm for 20 years, an incredible leader, had reached out to me looking for a chief program officer.
How did he find you though?
It's the power of a network. Through one of my former colleagues at Rocket Ship Education.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. But honestly, when he reached out to me, I kind of turned up my nose. I was like, Boys and Girls Club. I was like, I'm an educator. And my perception of Boys and Girls Clubs were that they were sort of gyms.
That was my impression too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why, but that's the first thing that went to my head as well.
Like an after-school program glorified or something.
Exactly, where it's like
aftercare only.
Aftercare, it's like babysitting, a safe space for kids. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't play basketball, although now I do because my boys are 8 years old and very obsessed. I don't play basketball. I'm an educator. And then Peter was like, let me tell you about what we do in the community. And so the more that I learned about what we call BGCP, Boys and Girls Clubs of the Peninsula, the more I was just blown away by the mission, by the community that they had built. I went to East Palo Alto to the clubhouse there, and this was in the middle of the pandemic. They had turned all of their clubhouses into food preparation and distribution centers for the entire community, giving out almost 500,000 meals to the entire community over a period of like 8 months.
What a pivot and smart to react in that moment. That's what they needed.
Totally. So we're able to be so nimble and adaptive to the needs of the community. And so I was just hooked and ended up joining as chief program officer, and then eventually became co-CEO and then CEO.
Awesome.
Wow.
What a journey. I mean, and how you talked about you're 26 years old and you're a principal of a school. That's not common.
No, we're talking about acceleration here.
Yeah, like super fast.
Jenny, President of the United States, coming next.
Expedited trajectory.
Yes.
So question for you before we dive in, because there's a lot to tell about your current role and how you got to that CEO level. When you were going through from being an educator that was volunteering for 2 years, you had that light bulb moment, like, this is my aha moment. This is what I want to be doing for life. And then you went to the next role, to the next role, to the next role. So was that intentional on your part? Did these things fall in your lap? Or were you chasing after, once you decided, I want to be in education for sure, did you say, I want to be a principal one day, and you made that happen?
No, I was just going with the flow. And I think my journey speaks to the power of having mentors and folks around you that really believe in you and push you out of your comfort zone into the next level. And that's what I had in my Teach for America experience and at Success Academy with Eva. And so it was constantly like, as soon as I started to get a little bit comfortable in a role, it was like, okay, here's the next opportunity. Right. And when I had a bit of hesitation, I'm like, I'm not sure I'm ready. It's like, no, you're ready. And our kids need you. And like, we'll help you figure it out.
We'll get you ready.
Yeah. We'll get you ready.
Yeah.
And like, it's okay to make mistakes. And as long as we just keep our true north of trying to do what's best for our kids, then let's keep it moving. And so that's how that acceleration happened.
That. And we talk all the time about the whole get comfortable, being
uncomfortable. Yeah, you have to do that. That's like a sign of growth. And then so to take a position like CEO, that's all on you.
That's huge.
That's huge. Like, how did you even think about like saying that, number one, you're ready for that? Right. And then two is, how are you along that journey, and who's guiding you? You said mentors, sponsors, like how are you able to pursue forward and learn and grow in this role? I'd love to learn. We want to know.
Like, was it an immediate?
How is it going, Jenny?
It's going. It's great. It's been quite the journey.
Yeah.
And I learned so much every day, but really, having such a fabulous team and community around me. So when I first became co-CEO, so Peter sadly was battling cancer, and so he and the board appointed me to be co-CEO as a part of a succession plan. And at the time, I knew that this was going to be a huge responsibility, but Billie Jean King says pressure is a privilege. And
wow, I love that.
That is
pressure is a privilege. I'm going to coin that one.
That is absolutely how I feel. And I just think, Peter used to always talk about how the most important decision we make every day is how we spend our time. And that really stuck with me. And, there's, of course, my family, which is always my top priority. And in addition, there's no other way I'd rather be spending my time than empowering like these amazing potential filled kids right here in our community with opportunities to help them unleash their full potential and thrive and be their best selves. So it wasn't really a question for me. I'm like, I can do this. I know I've got this great team around me, this great community around me. Everyone was encouraging me. And, you know, I've just had such great mentors along the way. So
it sounds like a no-brainer. Just this is filling the path you wanted to lead, it sounds like.
And with such strong purpose. I mean, I love that. I mean, that's the way that you feel motivated every day to get up in the morning and you're thinking about in the shower. It's like, you don't want to let these kids down.
Exactly.
It is so critical. I would love to hear, do you have a story that you could share about, an impact that you've made to, I mean, so many children. I mean, we should talk about the larger impact of the Boys and Girls Club and some metrics around that, but then also a personal story of you, without sharing all their details, of course, of a kid that, you saw a transition and it was just amazing.
Maybe I'll start big picture and then zoom in a little bit. So I've shared that our mission is all about closing the opportunity gap.
Yep.
And we really, I think at the heart of that is this belief that it's not things like a child's zip code or how much money their parents have or other arbitrary circumstances that should determine their outcomes in life. It's things like hard work, how the strength of your character, those are the things that should dictate your path. And so our work is really around breaking down barriers to programs and opportunities that will help kids thrive. And we've got 4 main pillars and ways that we really do that, keys to unleashing potential. But it's all built first and foremost on a foundation of strong relationships.
Okay.
So we're a staff now of almost 400.
Wow.
Serving students from 5,400 students from transitional kindergarten all the way to and through college and career placement.
Really?
At the core of this is we've got amazing youth developers that build strong, trusting relationships with our students because it doesn't matter how awesome your programs are. If the kids don't like you, if they don't trust you, if they don't want to be around you, they're not going to keep showing up. And so we've just got really magical youth developers that are so passionate about the work that we do and connecting and like really believe in what our kids are capable of. And then on top of that, we've got our 4 pillars. The first is around academics. So we provide a wide range of academic services and supports for kids, which is because obviously it's near and dear to my heart as an educator. And then I can hear my dad.
Yes, check. This is exactly what I'm here for.
My dad in my head. And especially in the wake of the pandemic, it widened an already stark academic gap that exists in a way that's aligned to socioeconomics.
I'd imagine it would, even everything going online and then parents it must have been even, I saw a difference in my children. I'm sure you saw it in your children during that time, but I can imagine even with less resources, it probably just maybe not even going to school in some cases. Like, do you have a computer or do you have all these things to even get online?
That's exactly right. And so, when in-person learning got shut down and everyone moved to remote, folks who had the resources to do so were able to set up in-person learning pods or hire private tutors. But so many kids, you're exactly right, didn't have the basics. They didn't have the fundamentals. They didn't have computers. They didn't have Wi-Fi. Oftentimes living with multi-generations of families in very small living spaces.
I heard stories of that too, where my nieces and nephews, their school was fortunate enough to be able to provide laptops during the pandemic for virtual learning, but then they had classmates that were going to the Starbucks down the street to sit outside and access the Wi-Fi to join their classes because they didn't have Wi-Fi at home. So it's that type of scenario, 1,000x, right? 10,000x.
The opportunity gap just got crazy.
That's right. And so BGCP, we were able to set up learning hubs and provide technology and Wi-Fi and warm meals and tutors. But we couldn't reach everyone. And so the gap did widen. And so we feel increased urgency around providing our literacy programs and daily intensive tutoring. We've got a really robust, as you know, Erica, college access and readiness program for first-generation college-bound students. So academics is a big piece. Mental health is our second big pillar.
Love that.
Again, the pandemic really shined a spotlight just on the state of crisis that young people across the country are in. But imagine if you don't have insurance or you don't have a network where you could pull strings to kind of get connected to someone and get moved off a waiting list. There's also a lot of stigma in some of the communities that we serve around accessing mental health services. And so 2 years ago, we decided to build out, really invest in our mental health team, build it out under the leadership of this amazing woman named Daniela Velasquez. We now have a team of 10 certified clinicians who work with our students and families in one-to-one therapy, group therapy, and peer-to-peer support groups.
Wow.
That is life-changing. I mean, I between all our kids, I just saw so much that my kids were impacted as well. But then you said you have privilege and you get those resources. It's the access. And a lot of people don't even have that. That's amazing. I mean, and to have 10 folks in part of the team, bravo to you. I mean, that you put it as that priority on the list. Because like everything else, you can have all the academics, you can have all those other things. It doesn't matter if you're, if it's not all right here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The third pillar is around enriching extracurriculars. So I have 8-year-old twin boys.
You're not busy at all. CEO and twin boys. Great.
Superwoman, supermom.
Oh my goodness. It really takes a village, but it makes me appreciate how it actually takes a village. And I have so many advantages and so much privilege. And at the same time, I'm always feeling like I'm just barely keeping my head above water. And so, my boys are obsessed with sports. And so especially basketball, and we sign up for all of the leagues, and I just finished signing up for summer camps. And I am just constantly blown away by how expensive it is to raise kids. It is
For them to play
sports, to be kids, to access things that
everything.
should just kind of be, it feels like it should be a childhood rite of passage, but it's not.
Yeah.
And also be present to go to the games, practice. I mean, it's in
Travel ball.
Yeah.
Like it's
a
just
lot.
wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. And so there are so many kids and parents out there who want great opportunities for their kids, just like I want for my own kids.
Yep.
And yet they have barriers to access. And oftentimes there are financial barriers because they can't afford the $1,500 for the 3-month league. Most of the families that we serve are socioeconomically disadvantaged, which means in our community, a family of 4 makes less than $53,000 a year.
wow.
And so they're not going to be paying $1,500 for a league, $800 for an art class.
No, they're worried about getting food on the table.
paying rent.
Paying
Paying
yeah.
rent.
Basic
just
necessities.
the basics.
Food, water, shelter.
Exactly.
Necessities, yeah.
Exactly. And so we provide a wide range of high quality extracurricular enrichment opportunities for our kids. Everything from competitive sports leagues to photography classes, culinary classes, summer camps. All of it is totally free to our students and families. And what I'm most proud of is that the quality is really
good.
Yeah.
Really good.
And you're honing in on their interests and letting them explore to find that thing that they want to do or be, right? Harnessing that is just so important at that age.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love that you said quality is like really good and being proud of it. It's like you're teaching them the best of the best so they can be competitive, have the confidence out there is that they're learning just like everybody else.
It is totally a pet peeve of mine, a mentality of like, well, it's good enough for these kids. Absolutely not.
Right.
Like good enough is not good enough. It's gotta be
your bar is high.
The bar has to be high, and to truly be closing the opportunity gap, you have to look at what types of opportunities kids in Palo Alto or Atherton are receiving and say, how can we make this happen, in a cost-efficient way,
of course,
and scalable way for the kids that we serve. I've got a fun story on the sports end of things. So we started these sports leagues called the Barry Carr Sports Leagues after a board member who passed away who loved sports, and his family started these leagues in his honor. And so these are competitive leagues. Kids get uniforms, they're real refs and coaches and trophies, all the good stuff, all for free. And we offer volleyball, basketball, soccer, and we started a flag football league.
Oh, cool.
And so at one of our schools, Hoover, in the North Fair Oaks community of Redwood City, they started a middle school boys flag football team, and they were the Hoover Huskies. And this was a group of boys who had never, ever, ever played football before. None of them knew the first thing about football, but our BGCP youth developers really encouraged them. They said, try something new. You might like this, or at least you'll meet new friends, you'll learn something. Yeah. And so they pushed themselves and they formed this Hoover Huskies team. They had to start from square one. They ended up playing against other teams across the Redwood City School District. And, this is a school district that is mixed income. So you've got some schools located in the community that are more affluent. You've got some that are Title I, largely socioeconomically disadvantaged. And so these boys played against schools from the more affluent part of the community. Wow. And it became very clear very quickly that some of their opponents, they had been playing club flag football since they were in kindergarten.
Wow.
Right. Since they were in kindergarten, because their parents could afford to make that happen for them. Mm-hmm. And, it wasn't always easy for our Hoover Huskies. There was some teasing, why you don't have cleats. You just made this silly mistake. But it was a youth development opportunity for our coaches to say, you tune out the noise, you focus on being a good teammate, and focus on what's within your control.
Focus on the game.
Focus on the game. We were so proud. The Hoover Huskies made it all the way to the playoffs, which was amazing.
How do you like them apples?
Exactly. And we have some
That's awesome.
Of our 8th graders who will now be 9th graders who are going to be trying out for their freshman football team.
Oh, my goodness. That's
which
amazing.
is just incredible. So it does speak to the power of exposure and discovering new passions and talents. Yeah. And then our 4th and final key pillar is around workforce readiness.
Okay.
Because so we've got this Future Grads program that works with first generation college-bound students. We work with them. This program started something like 7 years ago, and it was it focused on just high school programming to begin with. And what we were finding was the team was doing an incredible job of helping students get to college. This is under, Esme Ortiz, Dr. Ortiz, who leads this program, getting students to college. And we were like, yes. Awesome, students are getting to college. But then they weren't finishing. And so then we extended our program to support students in their post-secondary journey through advising and making sure they're on track to renew their financial aid.
Why do you think they weren't progressing? Yeah. What were some of the challenges that you saw or experienced?
I mean, being the first in their families to go to college, everything from homesickness to seriously missing deadlines of when do I need to re-enroll or how do I renew my FAFSA?
It's like executive skills almost of how do you even navigate college?
Yeah. And when I was in college, my parents were helping me every step of the way. I was getting the phone calls of remember to do this. And the text messages of don't forget, you have to go see your advisor. You have to do this. And they were holding my hand through this. But when we got parents who, they didn't have the experience of going to college. Oftentimes they themselves are working 2, sometimes 3 jobs. They don't necessarily even have the time to figure it out, even though they have, they want to be as supportive as their kids as possible. So we were able to be a part of our Students and Families Village to help them navigate
I can relate to a little bit of that. I was a first-gen graduate in my family as well. It took me 7 years to graduate, working, going to school the whole time, but I had no freaking clue how to do it. And I had some privilege of help and support, but still I can't imagine not knowing anything and then also having some financial help. I mean, it's crazy.
And having the guidance to know what resources are even available for financial
That's a big
aid
thing.
and
That's
things.
a big thing. Sometimes they don't even know. They don't
know
even
where to
know,
go.
but there is stuff out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so that's a big part of our work. But then we were finding, yay, students are graduating from college, which is amazing. We've got students at Berkeley and UCLA and UC Davis all over the place.
Wow.
They're graduating from college, but sometimes kids were then coming back. They had their degree in anthropology from San Jose State. And
San Jose State right here. Just saying.
And
San
then
Jose State.
they were coming back and, getting a part-time job at In-N-Out, the same job they had in high school.
Wow. Right.
And when we dug a little deeper to understand why, they didn't necessarily have so much of, Jeff always talks about the power of network. And
talk about who is Jeff to you?
Jeff Weiner has been such an incredible. So when you talked about my journey and sort of this leap to become CEO, Jeff Weiner, who's on our advisory council, has been such an incredible mentor to me. And we've had many coaching sessions where I've just brought all of my challenges to him, and he's been so supportive in helping guide me through this leadership journey. But he always talks about, and of course, I'm sure, it's at the core of LinkedIn, the power of a network.
Yeah, no, so everybody knows Jeff Weiner, prior CEO of LinkedIn, and we also have some prior LinkedIn behind the scenes crew. They filmed him on part of a course we were in, so knows him very well. Yeah, no, he's amazing. He's a mentor for
influential leader.
So influential. No,
incredibly influential.
You're lucky to have him as a mentor. That's
I am so
gold.
lucky. I'm so lucky. Yeah. And so when we think about the social capital element of workforce readiness, that's a big piece of it. But exactly some of those more fundamental skills of how do you create a LinkedIn profile? How do you put a resume together? Interview skills, things like that.
And you can even be on LinkedIn, but you have a network gap and you have no connections. It's like, okay, that's not as successful. It's like, how do you actually start creating that for them and creating that, closing that gap for them?
And how do you search for a job even that you're interested in that falls in line with what you just got your degree in? It's a whole process.
That's right.
Yeah.
So now we've built out our career pathways team and we focus on career exposure. So kids don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
Growing up with my Nigerian dad, I really thought there were three professions of you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, or you're an engineer. And that was it. And so many of
He
our
was very strategic in only giving you three options.
And so many kids in our community, they see, they know what they see.
Yeah.
And so exposing students to lots of different industries, preparation, all of those skills we just talked about of resume building and interview skills, and how to network.
Yeah.
And then experience. So being able to empower our kids with access to amazing internship opportunities. They've come to LinkedIn before, or job opportunities is really exciting. So we actually have a student named Olivia who was a longtime Boys and Girls Clubs of the Peninsula student, was in our Future Grads program, attended St. Mary's College, and we helped connect her. I mean, she really earned it. She put in the work. We helped connect her with an internship opportunity at 23andMe.
Oh, amazing.
And she was then hired full-time, and just last year brought a group of our high school Boys and Girls Club students to visit her at her offices, which is so cool because they see themselves in Olivia, and she's crushing it at 23andMe.
Yeah,
So
what a way to pay it forward and bring people forward as you elevate, up. That's amazing.
That's what you want is I see myself in that space. She is where I am now, or she was where I am now, and I can be
relatable
where she is.
Totally.
Yeah. Amazing program, obviously, that you're leading. And your role as CEO, you're learning along the way. You have an advisory board that helps you, have mentors that help you. You were recently recognized for something pretty awesome last year, right? In 2023. Vice President Kamala Harris
all the way in
invited
Washington.
you to
my
Washington.
God. I think you can find a picture of them on her profile. I'm just saying. I believe I saw something.
So kudos to you, but you were
thank
recognized
you.
for being one of the young emerging Black leaders in the U.S. Is that right?
Yes, it was a reception to honor, young emerging Black leaders. It was quite a privilege to get to attend and to be able to meet the vice president and so many incredible leaders from across the nation. It was really cool.
You're building out your network right there too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And which helps you give more access to all the kids in the end, right? As successful as you are, it just scales to them. That's amazing. Yeah. Well, I want to talk about another thing, because I personally have gone to 2 or 3 Youth of the Year celebrations. I've also been a judge, so thank you. She's also given me opportunity to be part of this community. And I remember the first time I went, I just was in tears, because you see and hear the stories of where they came from. I remember there was one speech, I don't know if you remember it, but she talked about everything that was holding her back was a Social Security number. And you realize a lot of that, you think about how families and how children, just that one thing held her back. And she was part of the finalists of the Youth of the Year. And it was just, it was so beautiful to see what you had provided, the organization had provided, to now her being able to succeed in life. I would love to have you share some of those experiences with the Youth of the Year. It's amazing. You can also watch it. I'm sure there's some recordings.
Totally.
Because just being there and present, I mean, I couldn't stop crying, and I've been a supporter of the organization for a while. So, by the way, anybody can be a supporter, just so we're super clear.
That's right.
Every donation helps and gives back to the students, and it's something that we continue to do every single year. And I was hooked once I met those kids and the work that you do. Truly impactful.
Thank you so much, Erica. And I'm just so grateful for your, investment in our kids, because that's really what it is. It's an investment in our students and an investment in our community, because when our kids fulfill their potential, it just makes our whole community stronger. And that student that you're talking about the 9 digits of the Social Security number really being a significant barrier, she recently graduated from Stanford.
Wow.
What? Yes. That just brings me so much joy. Sorry,
which is amazing. So our Youth of the Year process, it's one of our youth development programs at the Boys and Girls Clubs. And, that's really what it's about. It's about discovering, like students discovering themselves and pushing themselves outside of their comfort zone. So with our team members, they get sort of paired up with a mentor and a team member to work with them through this journey. They write essays about themselves, and they hone their interview skills, and they think about their dreams and their ambitions for the future. And the whole process culminates in this big Youth of the Year evening where our students get up on stage in front of 400 plus people, and these high school students.
And also, who are these people that they're standing up in front of?
These amazing, folks like yourself, these amazing.
Well, I didn't mean it that way, but
no, but it's true. These amazing,
I think you've had Sundar there. You've had CEO of Google. You had some famous Warrior basketball players.
That's right. We've had KD, Iguodala.
It's insane.
It's been this year we had Marissa Mayer. We just had this incredible panel this year.
Condoleezza Rice
who's also on our advisory council and is an amazing mentor as well. I feel fortunate to call her a mentor. It's just amazing. And these students, they're in high school and they have the confidence to interview with these esteemed selection panelists, and then they get up on stage and in front of all these people, they tell their stories. And I think what is the most touching to me, these are stories of empowerment and a focus on how they are in control of their lives.
Yes.
So all of our kids, they have unique challenges, just like anyone, but when you might be socioeconomically disadvantaged or dealing with immigration status issues or whatever the case may be, there are additional stressors in your life.
Hoops to jump through.
Exactly. Yeah. But our kids, time and time again, they focus less on that. They acknowledge that that is a part of their life. Just time and time again, they're focused on what their ambitions are and how they're going to get there, and how these barriers are not going to stop them from achieving big things. And it's so inspiring. Our students just inspire me so much. And, every time we recently had our big future launch celebration where we celebrate our graduating students, and they announce what their post-secondary plans are or what their career plans are if they're graduating from college. And as I'm scanning the group, I'm really like, which one of y'all is going to come take my job in the near future?
That is the idea, right?
That's what you hope for.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's the idea.
Yeah, that grit, that tenacity. I mean, imagine like having someone like that employed at your company. I'd rather have that person.
Right, and they want to give back. That's
Yeah, it's golden. I also have a friend. She's a foster mom to these two beautiful kids, but the Boys and Girls Club is how she survives. Both of her kids have been going for years. Right after she's a nurse and she's a single mom, it's the only way that she can survive is having them go to the club every single day after school and part of the sports. So it's so widespread, and I see the transition in those kids just because of the program. It's amazing, Jenny. Oh.
So amazing career, amazing life journey. It's not stopping here. What's next for you? What do you envision being your life in 5 to 10 years from now?
We told her she's running for president.
Well, sorry. Yeah. Besides that,
Okay,
you're going to do all the things.
First.
Oh my goodness. You're so funny. Right now, I am just laser focused on what's possible with our BGCP community. So we've been so busy over the past 2 years in the wake of the pandemic. 2 chapters to the north of us reached out and asked us to essentially join forces. And so we merged. And so over the past 2 years, we've doubled in size, doubled the number of students we're serving from 2,700 to 5,400.
Oh my goodness.
That's
massive.
Yes, it is massive. So we've been busy. And so our budget has also grown from $21 million to $35 million, and next year it'll be $38 million.
And how are you getting those funds? Just so we're clear, like, how do you raise that money?
The majority of the funds come from private individuals who have a shared belief in the power and potential of our young people. We've also been working to increase the amount of government funding that we get from the state and from our partner school districts, because we partner really closely with schools to serve as a second shift. So we are after school program. So we extend the school day, and we're the second shift in the after school program. We extend the school year, and we're the second shift through our free summer programs. So that's where the majority of our funding comes from, in addition to some foundations and some corporate funding as well. But we're super proud to have opened 13 new sites over the past 2 years.
Jeez.
But we've also had to turn down, something like 12 requests over the past 2 years. There is so much unmet need still in our community. There are 29,000 socioeconomically disadvantaged students just in San Mateo County.
So they
alone.
don't have any resources. When you say turn down, they don't have anywhere else to go?
So they have requested our services because they either don't have alternatives, or they might not be happy with their alternatives, because a lot of programs understandably charge fees for the programs. And so because of the generosity of our Team BGCP community, all of our programs are completely free, and we do really pride ourselves on quality. One of the things I learned as we expanded to the northern part of our community is just the extent of the unmet need in places like South San Francisco and Daly City and parts of San Mateo. Folks in San Francisco tend to give to San Francisco. Folks down south in like Atherton, Palo Alto tend to give to East Palo Alto. And so we've benefited with our students in the South tremendously from that philanthropy. But there's a lot of work to do still in the northern part of the county. And it's been so amazing to see the community there really step up in big ways, but there is a lot of unmet need. And so a priority for me and the team right now over the next few years is to really try to position ourselves financially as quickly as possible to be able to hit the gas pedal again and serve as much of that need as possible.
So you feel it's something you can service the need. It's just a matter of financial resources.
Exactly.
It's like, how to scale this, know what needs to be done. It's just like you need the funds to make it happen. That must just be heartbreaking to actually turn that away, because when you're turning that away, the impact to those children is high.
Exactly. It is truly heartbreaking. And this has been certainly a learning moment as a CEO. So coming from more the education and program side of things, I've largely always led with my heart. And like, if it's good for kids, we're going to figure out a way to make it happen. And I still lead largely from that. But now as the CEO and the buck ultimately stops with me, I am now thinking about sort of the long-term sustainability of the organization for the kids and families that depend on us. Right. And it's not just as easy as saying like, yes, we're going to do it all. It's important that we're building the foundations that we need to be successful.
Because you need those current kids that are part of the program that you want to make it last all the way to college and beyond. And it's like, you can't starve that, even though you want to go over here and help. You have to be a smart business woman at the end of the day, but it's so hard.
Exactly.
That's why everybody else can help. Everybody else can help here.
That's right. So, everyone can really help. And really, like everything that, like anything that folks can do makes a difference. Obviously, financial contributions, but we have incredible volunteers who donate their time.
I love it.
To support with our programs, and that makes such a big difference. So there are lots of different ways to get involved and to be part of our Team BGCP community.
What are some of the volunteer efforts that people do?
Oh my goodness! So my favorite time of the year is coming up at BGCP, which is summer. And it's my favorite because we get to spend full days with our kids instead of just the after school hours.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. You need more time. Yeah, they're out of school.
Exactly. And so we run these full day programs where in the morning, there are academic programs in partnership with our schools. And in the afternoon, there are all these fun extracurriculars. So we run Camp Galileo, which typically I think is like $500 a week for one child if you sign your kid up for it.
Wow.
But they train our staff and we buy the materials and we run it all for free, which is really fun. But we've got a big volunteer program where we get a ton of high school interns from around the community that serve almost like camp counselors working with our kids.
And they're learning skills being leaders in that moment.
Exactly.
I was a camp counselor growing up. Did you ever do anything?
Yeah, I did summer camp. I did, and I helped during the summer in Morgan Hill.
It's a formative experience.
It is.
Yeah, maybe we should do that. Let us know.
Hey,
Sign us
absolutely.
up. All right, we're all signing up, right, Becky? Alex, we're all doing this.
We have volunteer opportunities that are more content specific. Like we've got folks that come in and teach financial literacy courses to our students.
That's brilliant.
Which is amazing.
They don't even do that in regular high schools.
I know.
So you're going to get better. Raise the bar.
Pythagorean theorem, but like people don't know how to do their taxes coming out of school.
Right.
And so we've got folks that, volunteer to teach AI workshops or to be a biology tutor. And then we've got these great opportunities that we call Fun Fridays or Thrilling Thursdays, Wild Wednesdays. You get the gist. But you can basically come with your group of friends or family and we'll help organize a carnival sort of game day at one of our sites for our kids. And they just love it. You do face painting and games and there's prizes and it's such a fun, magical experience for our kids and a great opportunity to just bring the community together.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Dunk tanks, water balloon fights, all that stuff.
Pie in the face.
They need to have fun. They need to have fun also at the end of the day. Get work done.
They are kids.
They are kids. They need a break.
Yeah.
Too. They need a break.
You expose your boys to the types of events and offerings and involve them with the basketball leagues and all the things.
Absolutely. So this was actually a big reason why I decided BGCP was the place for me. Prior to joining BGCP, I was doing consulting work, working with schools. It was so much fun working with schools, primarily charter schools in under-resourced communities across the country, helping them rapidly elevate their academic outcomes. So I'd work with the CEOs, work with the principals and say let's do it this way and we'll see some major gains, which was so fun. But I was traveling a ton, about 60% of my time. I was on the East Coast and my boys were just little ones at the time. And so I do not take for granted any minute of every day, just how beautiful it is to have my boys be a part of this incredible community. So it's very similar to how I grew up with my mom, at her community center. That is definitely what's happening with my boys. They think I have the coolest job ever because they'll come into some of our clubhouses and there's foosball tables and ping pong and video games. They're like, this is what you get to do all day? I'm like, okay, I do. I don't just play foosball.
They see what they want to see.
Exactly. But yeah, they've played in our basketball leagues before. My husband has coached, which has been very fun. And, they love to come to all of the events and cheer on our students. And they're really inspired by our kids. We live stream our Youth of the Year. And even though it's past their bedtime, they always stay up and watch our Youth of the Year and see the speeches. And the next morning when I see them, they always have so much to say and are just so motivated. And they're like, oh, maybe one day I can do this just like this student. I'm like, this is it.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, this is it.
So I want to ask, I'm just curious here, you look at all your accomplishments and where you're at, it's amazing, but also do you have any moments that you can share where it's like, hey, that was a failure moment or a learning moment or I just, it's just like, I got perfection over here. I want to like dig in a little bit of like share with us.
Yes. Too many to choose from. Too many to choose from. Let me think about this for a moment.
Yeah.
When I transitioned from being co-CEO to CEO, it was sadly upon Peter's passing, my co-CEO's passing. He had been such an incredible leader at the helm for 20 years. And that was a tough time for me for so many reasons. One, just the personal grief of losing someone that I cared so deeply about. Two, just the immense feeling of pressure and responsibility to step into such, huge shoes, where I felt like the stakes are really high. Like I care so deeply about this. And three, it was a brand new role for me. So there was a lot to figure out. And so the year of transition was definitely one of a lot of ups and downs and a lot of learning moments. I'd say my two biggest learnings from that time, one of my biggest challenges was really figuring out like what my authentic leadership style was. And I sort of felt tension, like internal tension sometimes of, what would Peter do?
Yeah.
Because he had been so incredible and successful and impactful and amazing. And I really had to learn that while, of course, I should build upon everything that he had done in the community and like take those learnings and run with them. Yeah. I also had to find my own style and sort of trust my own gut. And so when there were times where I felt like, this didn't go the way I wanted it to, or this was a failure, and when I reflected upon it, it was very much that I did not listen to my gut and sort of follow my own authentic path. And then secondly, another challenge was finding that harmony between my role as CEO and my role as mom.
Yeah.
And with two little ones at home that, they need me and I want to be there for them. And I was also hyper focused on trying to be the best leader I could be for the community. And there were times where I was like, did I choose correct? Like, did I choose correct? I went to the school event, but I missed this at work. Yeah. And I feel the stress of that. Or I went to this work event and I missed the hoedown, the kindergarten hoedown. Like, I'll never live that down. And so I have very much found the harmony for the most part that feels good for me. And, I do credit, I've had this incredible leadership coach along the way. Her name's Catherine from Trium.
Oh yeah. Okay. I used Trium before.
Oh my gosh. Great. Highly recommend. So she has been such an essential part of my leadership journey and helping bring it back to like who I am as an authentic person and how I reflect on my learnings and get stronger as a leader and as a human every single day. So big shout out to
I love that. And when you were talking about being your authentic self as a leader, I think when you fill the shoes of somebody else, it's like you just feel like, oh, should I replicate? Should I just keep it? And it reminds me of a quote. It's like, be your unique self. Everybody else is already taken. And so it's like you realize that is your special sauce. And that's the way that you're going to put that extra thing on top of whatever, Peter already did. So I think you're doing fantastic and already made it. I was there during the transition and I'm like, wow, Jenny is like kicking ass. This is like really good. And I love the fact on the parent and the balance, just being a parent of, and you also are a parent. You are choosing every single day to this work event or this, thing with your child, and you're gonna miss. It's gonna be a fact. You're gonna miss something on either side, and it's like choosing which one is the bigger deal. And but you are gonna miss things. And I look back just being career 25 plus years, I miss things. And I there's certain events like, you have the hoedown, and I'm like, I remember my son, he broke his arm and I didn't realize he broke his arm a little bit later. And I was like, he wasn't screaming, he wasn't in pain, but I will never live that down. And he still brings it up today. Mom, remember when I broke my arm falling off the bike? I'm like, you seem fine. It was like, oh wait, no, I wasn't able to bend it all the way. I'm like, oh gosh, that was total failure, but I was busy working when you're distracted. So I'm trying to personally be more present in this, but we're learning, and every phase that your children go through, you're going to learn how you have to be different. So thank you for sharing that.
And
for
spending your time with us.
Yeah, you made a choice.
So much for having me.
You made a choice today. I don't know. Hopefully there's no hoedown that's going on
no
today.
hoedown today. Ice cream social this afternoon.
Okay,
I'll be
and you're
there.
Gonna make that.
We'll be there.
Okay.
Absolutely.
She's making it all happen. I love that.
Congratulations. We'll get you out here on time and early if we can.
So yeah, but thank you again for being here with us today and spending your time. One of the things that's so important about the work that we're doing and the community that we're building for HumanizeHer is elevating and celebrating other women. So if you want to take a moment to pay it forward and recognize a woman in your life or a woman in your network that you think is just standout, stellar, rocking it and everything she does, and you want to, comment on that, that'd be great.
Great. Can I do 3?
Yeah.
We try and ask, and we always say one. No one's ever done one.
No.
And
that's
but it's okay
because it's hard.
It's
to
so
choose
hard. It's so hard. But
one.
Go
Okay.
Celebrate.
Thank you so
Let's do
much.
it.
So, our work at BGCP, it's all about team. And we just have the most incredible team. We're called Team BGCP. It's our staff, our board members, our students, our families, our elected officials, our donors, our volunteers, our school partners. It's one team, one community. I want to shout out 3 very special women on my leadership team. Without them, the impact that we're having in our community would not be possible. Tina Sire, who's our Chief Advancement Officer, Dr. Esme Ortiz, who's our SVP of High School Post-Secondary Programs, and Michelle Vespi, who's our Chief People Officer. I have the pleasure of dancing with these fabulous women every single day, and they make me a better leader for our kids, and it's just a blast working with them. And so, shout out to them.
Yes. And I love how you said dancing.
Yeah,
it is dancing.
You get to dance together all the time. I love that.
Yeah. And here we are. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you so much. Thank you for creating this platform to empower women's voices.
Of course. And if anyone's interested in helping to support and promote and get involved, even as a volunteer with the Boys and Girls Club, how can they do that?
Yeah, check out our website, bgcp.org. You'll find all types of information about how you can volunteer, or we'd love to have people in to come visit one of our programs and see them in action. But spread the word.
Yes, we will. This will be on.
Totally.
Right.
This was so much fun. We will definitely be inviting you back when you're running for president. So
yeah, exactly.
Just look forward to that.
We get first dibs, just so we're clear.
Oh my goodness.
Timeline wise, I'm like, I feel like you're going to do it fast.
I bet we need to start that campaign soon.
Yeah. I bet one of our BGCP students will beat me to it.
Okay.
So. I like that.
There we go. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Thank you, ladies. Bye. Thank you so much.
The biggest gratitude to thank those that are behind the scenes. Alex Sully, our creative director and producer. Becky Davis, our talented director of photography. Kristen West, our brilliant brand and design expert. And of course, thanks to all of you for making our vision of HumanizeHer come to life.